Hello guys, hi, this is Aditya from Paraguide Technologies. So today we will look how to integrate SharePoint list and the .NET application. So today we will try to insert an item to the SharePoint list from C# code. I have created one application, one project on the VS. To communicate with the SharePoint we need to add two references, and the references are Microsoft SharePoint.client and client.runtime. These are the two references we are using. So it is mandatory to have these two DLLs in your references. So let's start with the coding. Okay, so let me show you the list which I have created. So this is the list in which we are going to insert the item from C# code. There are two columns, one is title and the first name, that's it. So there are two entries almost, and we're trying to add some more from the .NET application. So yes, let's start with the coding. So I have created one more file, say insert item.cs. So we'll call this function. Set item, let's create object. So set item dot say insert is the function. Let's go to the original file. So we'll create a new function here, public void insert. No need to pass any parameters right now. Okay, so these are the files, and see, you can see that I've imported the Microsoft.client and system.security file. So security file is mainly required to pass the password to the SharePoint site as a credentials. So let's start with try block. Need to have a try block also. Catch exception, suppose EX. Okay, and we'll try to print it on the console. Okay, so it will be EX dot message. So firstly we'll create the password thing. So add equals to new secure string. We cannot pass the password as a normal string. We need to pass it with a secure string thing. So we have created an object of secure thing. Let's have a current culture as a thread. Thread dot current culture. Actually this needs when we try to set the date and time, all these things, but it's always good to mention the current culture when you're communicating with the SharePoint from the .NET or from anywhere else. Current culture is done. Now let's set the password for each char C in configuration settings dot app settings. Okay, so for the security reasons, I have declared my password, my username, the SharePoint link in the app.settings file. So over here you can directly pass your password in the string format. So you don't need to write it in a web.config, but it will be good if you pass these things from web.config or from app.settings. Okay, so the password, meaning the secure string, will append these characters to the secure string. Okay, now let's create the client context. Client context. To new client context. Again we are passing the link, but I have declared it in the app.settings file. So again I'll be picking it up from the app.settings only. So near the keys SharePoint link. So this is the client context which we had. Again, to pass the credentials to this client context, meaning to the link which we have declared. So next step is to pass the credentials to this link. So let's pass the credentials to the same client context as client context dot credentials, but you need to create the object of SharePoint online credentials. Yeah, SharePoint online credentials. Okay, so for this again it's username and password. Okay, so see, this is the string, meaning the actual password which we have stored in the app.config file. So we are not passing this app.settings as a parameter. What we are passing is the secure string as a parameter to the credentials, online credentials, right? So if you pass the string, it will not work. SharePoint will not allow you to log in to the list, right? So this is nothing but the secure string, not the actual string from app.settings. Okay, so we have passed the credentials. We are okay with this with the list. So now let's go to the list name. So to pass the list, we need to create an object of list, say olist something. It will again under the same client context, the client context dot web lists dot get by title, I think we'll use. So for the title, again I have mentioned that list title in the app.settings file, so I'll be again picking it up from there. So it will be configuration settings dot settings, and then it's a SharePoint list name. Okay, so now we got the list, so we need something, or we need some bridge between the list and the .NET application. So we'll create the information list item creation information, say list creation information equals to new list creation information. This is only the object. Now create the items of this list, say list item list item equals to list dot add item, and the creation information will be the parameter. Creation information will be the parameter. So we are done with the basic things, all the connections, the credentials, list name, items, everything. So let's have the insert directly. So it will be insert item, the name of the field will be the suppose title equals to, let's say title 3, and another item is the first name. This name will be suppose George. So we are done with the insert statement. So now it is only to update the item, execute the client context, and we are done. So let's update the list item. So this is a list item, say update to it, so that will be updated. And once the item is updated, we again need to execute the query on the client context, meaning on the list. So say client context dot execute query. So we are done with the things. So let's go to the list again. So this is the list, and in this list right now there are only 2 records, title 1, title 2, Aditya and Andrew. So let's run our code. Let's start. Yeah, it's done. Let's see if the George has been inserted or not. So we need to refresh it. Yes, so it's George. So we have inserted the record from C# to the SharePoint list, and this is one of the most simplest ways and one of the most trusted ways to insert the data to the SharePoint list from the .NET C# application. Okay, so going ahead with the same, let's update the record from the same list, from the same code. As we were inserting the data, we were using add item, but while updating we don't need it, so we'll just comment it. So to update we need a new thing called camel query. will be the query to fetch the item which we want to update, or the group of items. So let's see how to do that. It will be the lambda, say view xml equals to string dot format. So okay, in this I'll firstly set the view. So need to again close the view as we are using the XML, the view, then the query. We need to close the query. So copy the query. So I think I need to copy something that I already have, so you can just refer it to. This is something which I have. Okay, so yeah, this is what we're doing, right? This is the name of the field, meaning the column name, right? Then the next thing is its data type, and this 0 is nothing but the parameter or the argument. The row limit we are setting because we need to update only one record at a time. You can change it also. This is what we need to place at the that 0 parameter place. Okay. So this will be the semicolon. Let's fire this query. Say where items ph equals to list dot get items query so it will be the query. So it's client context, the old one which we are using for the insertion. At this time it will be the load. What we are going to load is the items ph. Client context dot execute query. So when this line gets executed, all the records which comes under this where clause will gets loaded into the item ph. So we'll use for each to access those items. Say list items, list item in items ph. think it's list item. So need to close it. So to check the thing, what we can do is, in the where clause we are checking if the first name is Aditya. Checking if the first name is Aditya. So what we can do is, we can update this Aditya from maybe say Michael or Michelle something. Say Michelle. We are done with the updating code. Let's save it. Let me show you the list. So this is the list, and in this list right now there are only 3 items. One is title 1, title 2, title 3, Aditya, Andrew and George. So what we are trying to do is, we are fetching the first record where the first name is Aditya, and we will try to update it with the Michelle. So let's run the code. We are done. Make it updated successfully or not. Yes, so it is now updated. So yes guys, that's it. This is the code from which we are actually doing the insertion and updation to the SharePoint list from the C# code. That's it. Thank you.